They did it. Supreme Court will set the price of silver. This is crazy, and they're trying to roll it out, hoping to get unnoticed. I'm here to break this down and show the Supreme Court is causing massive disruption, and when they're done, the courts will determine the price of silver. Say goodbye to your $20, say goodbye to your $30 spot price. Just look at what is going to happen when the courts are put in charge of the silver market. This is from National Law Review, and the headline reads, U.S. Supreme Court overturns Chevron deference to federal agencies. The key phrase there is federal agencies. Check this out. The U.S. Supreme Court has overturned, this is the article, the U.S. Supreme Court has overturned the decades-old Chevron doctrine of judicial deference to a federal agency's interpretation of an ambiguous statute. A recent ruling, known as Loper versus Raimondo, had the court ruling in favor of completely changing the power of federal agencies as we know it. This should send a red flag to us as silver stackers because the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC, they're responsible for regulating the silver market. This new ruling is going to change silver in a big way. Let's continue. The article says the court's decision came in response to a pair of cases brought by two fishing vessel operators challenging federal regulations on fishery management in federal waters. Would you ever think that a lawsuit between fishing vessel companies would completely upend the silver market? Watch how this plays out. The article says the underlying cases will affect the many regulations issued by federal agencies such as the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, that's the EEOC, the Department of Labor, DOL, Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, yes, OSHA, and the NLRB, the National Labor Relations Board. All of these are federal agencies, and this case is going to hit all of them. It is hitting them already. This just started yesterday. So here's what the Supreme Court did. This just happened yesterday, and it will change everything for silver. We can't just wage a war against certain parts of the administrative state. As this rolls out, every federal agency will lose its power, and this includes the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. Again, that's the agency that oversees the silver market. If you're enjoying this video, please hit like, please hit subscribe. It really helps to get this information out there. Now, what the Supreme Court did was eliminate the Chevron doctrine. This article explains it best. The article says the Chevron doctrine, previously courts were required to defer to agency regulations if the language of the statute at issue was ambiguous and the agency's interpretation was reasonable. That was the Chevron doctrine, and until yesterday, that allowed federal agencies to make their own reasonable decisions. But now our war on this administrative state has killed that, and next on the chopping block will be the administrative agency that overlooks the price of silver. So don't get too comfortable with this $30 spot price. Our silver will be a casualty of this war. The article says, over the past 40 years, federal agencies have routinely relied on the decision in response to challenges to these statutory interpretations. Chevron deference has allowed the agencies to survive legal challenges and embolden agencies to extend their regulatory reach. Now, starting today, the court's majority held that courts may not defer to an agency's interpretation of a statute merely because the statute is ambiguous. A court must now exercise independent judgment in interpreting a statute and reviewing the agency interpretation of the statute. This will cause a major disruption in two ways. First, regulations and guidance from the EEOC, the DOL, OSHA, NLRB, all of these agencies, these are federal agencies put in place to protect the little guy, you and me. These are agencies that were created to prevent our courts from being clogged and overrun with day-to-day minutia between employee and employers. That now that we've taken away the power of these agencies, we're going to not make America great again. No, we're going to back to see the disruption. I mean, this is going to be a major, major disruption. We're going to go back to see what life was like in the 19th century. That's how far this is going to send us back to what work life was like before federal oversight, back to companies that locked workers inside factories and forced them to work in unsafe and exploitative conditions. That's life without the National Labor Relations Board. That's life without OSHA. And that is exactly what this ruling does. The other change is going to hit our silver price, because if you think the price of silver is manipulated today in 2024, just wait to see the enormous manipulation of silver price that will occur without any federal oversight.